welcome to this understanding of Patanjali's origins. Just wanted to do a short video on Patanjali because Patanjali wrote the Yoga Sutras, and whether it's myth or it was a sage or it was a group of sages, um, the Yoga Sutras were written down after being orally passed down for many generations, and they they spell out what yoga is without saying how to do yoga. And that's really a powerful distinction because typically when we find like a practice out there, whether it's a religious practice, a spiritual practice, just a wellness practice, there's like rules, there's set rules that you must follow to get the promise, right? The promise of whatever it is that's being promised. And it's not to say that these are wrong or that they don't work. Of course they do. Otherwise they wouldn't exist in the first place. And yes, there's fake ones and there's manipulative ones out there as well. But what's really powerful about the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali is that they're one, non-dogmatic. They don't say you have to do these things. They simply state what happens when you do certain things. And we do these certain things in most of these other practices as well. But when you're looking for like a more secular way of understanding the world and ethics and morals and how to act in the world, the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali are a fantastic framework. In fact, they may be the best framework, but I might be biased because they helped me immensely in life, from being able to just function and talk to people and be social to understanding the traumas and the pains and the suffering that I experienced myself, which is why I teach about the various things within the Yoga Sutras, the philosophies, like the eight limbs of yoga, for instance. And Patanjali was born from this desire to see Nataraj, or Shiva, the Lord of the Dance, to see the Tandava, the dance of joy, which he heard about from Vishnu. And so he incarnates onto the earth. He's kind of cast out of, let's just say, heaven for simplicity's sake. And he lands in a river, and he's saved because he's a snake. Patanjali means snake person. And from this incarnation, he's saved by a sage, a yogi living on the river, who then teaches him yoga. Right? How silly is that? A man teaching a snake yoga. But if you've been to India, or if you've even seen just images, you'll see that people work with the cobras and the snakes there, they're very dangerous. They're deadly, and for a human to be able to work with them would take not just courage and fearlessness, but also a calm and a state of being where that cobra, that snake, doesn't actually want to do harm to that person either. It's a very powerful practice. They're very, very amazing yogis. And so Patanjali is taught in all the ways of yoga. He learns everything. And once he's learned from this master, he moves on, and he learns and he learns and he learns. And eventually he hears that Shiva is going to do the dance for the people. Shiva only does this dance twice. And so this is a rare opportunity. This would be his second and last time that Shiva will perform this dance. And so he goes to Chidambaram. There's a temple there dedicated to Nataraj, Lord of the Dance. I was blessed to be there once. And the temple where you see Nataraj is actually offset slightly on the grounds. Rather than being centered, it's slightly to the left, just like the heart, slightly to the left. And the dance is so powerful that he can't see it directly on. He has to see it from the side. And he gets this deep understanding from seeing this. And he then writes down the Yoga Sutras, or he begins writing them down as the mythology goes. And And so that was his journey. I mean, he goes off to find samadhi, and he reconnects and he returns to where he came from. But he came here with a purpose. He came here to share with humanity this deep knowledge. So whether you believe the mythology or you think it was just a person, it doesn't really matter. What matters is that we have this knowledge. And there's a particular mantra, and this is really what I wanted to get to, that honors Patanjali and beyond Patanjali, all the teachers that came before us. What's really special about a practice like yoga, or really any spiritual practice that's not New Age, it's and not to bash on New Age or anything. I'm not doing that, but there's a lineage. There's a long line of teachers that have come before. And if you've ever tried to go somewhere before, like in the woods, it can be a little difficult to navigate. But if people have gone there before you, they've created trails. And if a lot of people have gone there before you, they've created paths. And even more people have gone there, they've created roads. It makes it very easy to navigate, a lot easier to navigate through that woods, through that forest. And that's what teachers are like for us. They're the ones that go to the forest and they create a path. They make it easier for us to go from the bottom to the starting point. And every teacher brings that starting point further and further up. And that's what's really valuable about a lineage, is that every teacher that came before and will come is creating a path and making it easier for the generations to follow. And so the mantra to honor him is a little long. It's chanted before Ashtanga yoga practices, but before it was popularized in Ashtanga yoga, it was and is still, of course, used at the beginning of any Yoga Sutra study. And it's called the Vande Gurunam. It's quite long. I'll put it on the screen here so you can see, and you can follow along with me. And if you like this, let me know in the comments, and I'll make a video just the mantra, and then you can play that on loop, on repeat, and learn the mantra. Okay, we'll chant. Vande Gurunam Charanaravinde Sandashtasva Masukava Bodhe Nishreyase Jangali Kayamani Samsahara Hala Halamua Hashantai Abahu Parusha Karam Shankachakrasidarinam Sahasra Shresam Shvetam Pranamami Patanjalim. So if you are familiar with Sanskrit, you might have heard my little accents a little off or something like that. But that's the way I learned to chant the mantra, and it's such a beautiful mantra. And I'll give you the English translation here. I bow to the lotus feet of the gurus who awaken the joy of the self within and bring peace by removing the poison of conditioned existence. To Patanjali, in the form of a man up to the shoulders, holding a conch, a discus, and a sword with a 1,000-headed white divine serpent as his crown, I offer my salutations. And I just so happen to have a statue of Patanjali to share with you here. Let's see if I can get him centered here. And you can see, okay, so you can see here and here where he's holding the conch and the discus. Conch, discus. Here is the serpent head up here, the divine serpent crown, right? All right. And here he's depicted as man all the way to the top, with snake here below, wrapped 3.5 times. That's the Kundalini, if you're unfamiliar with that. And he's not really holding a sword in this depiction, but this statue of Patanjali is here to teach us a lesson. It's not here for worship. No, it's here to help us understand the meaning, the symbolism, the story of who Patanjali is, why he came here to help us, and what he continues to teach us through his teachings, right? This is honoring him. That's why we create statues, is to honor people. So this is Patanjali. Thank you so much for joining me for this talk. If you liked it, please like. If you want more, please subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you think of Patanjali, this mantra. Om Shanti.